A military operation done on the fly. Let's talk about that some more. That is uncharted territory. Pretty frank talk from Secretary Gates. NATO is insisting it's prepared for the Libyan operation. So let's talk about that a little more with General Wesley Clark. He's led NATO missions before. You're the perfect guest for this topic. Thanks for joining us, General.
Thank you.
So General Clark, you were the NATO Supreme Commander. So when Secretary Gates says, we've put this coalition together on the fly and we've never done this before, it kind of makes us pause. Like, if I'm putting my life on the line, I kind of want my command structure in place.
Well, the first part of the command structure is the NATO command structure. That's the central part. The U.S. has an existing command structure. We did the cruise missile strikes and the stealth bombers and using U.S. national intelligence assets. So that's a playbook. And then we wrapped around that the French and British with their own systems. Now, each of these countries has its own national command center. Then they were operating through a U.S. command structure on the Mount Whitney, and then NATO is behind that, and NATO could fold all of this together. Then there's a desire to bring in some non-NATO member states like Qatar and hopefully the Emirates. And so the question is, then what's the best way to bring them in? These discussions are normally held in private, and they're held before an operation begins. And what Secretary Gates is saying was that the impressive events on the ground necessitated getting the operation underway before all the discussions were finished. The questions that will have to be dealt with are essentially political questions. They're how far does the targeting go? For example, how close, what kind of risks are pilots going to take to strike those Gaddafi forces around Misrata?
Well, General, there's something interesting about that because from what I understand, NATO is going to take control of one part of the operation, and then France might take control of the political part of the operation. So it will be making decisions on what you've just said, and then NATO will be making other decisions. That's really never been done before, has it?
Well, there's always a political level above the military level. The question is who participates in it. So if the NATO forces only do the command and control for the no-fly zone, perhaps the French forces will consider whether they have to put spotters on the ground, give aid to the rebels, take targeting information from the rebels on the ground, and exactly how far they want to go to push Gaddafi into the corner from which he will have to escape.
General Wesley Clark, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.